McCarthy joins us. All of our guests appear via the Invader Coffee hotline. Log on to invadercoffee.com. Use the code Snowman for 15% off. Invader Coffee, fuel for the fearless. What up, McCarthy? Good morning.
What's going on, fellas?
What up, supervillain? What's you brewing on today?
Well, I got my best buddy by my side right now. Tag along.
Hey!
He's with us in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a pretty wild weekend as far as the NFL draft and also with local sports.
Yep.
I have some stories to share. I'm gonna save most of them for tomorrow night's program. We're back tomorrow. Dustin's back from vacation. Also taking care of some family stuff. So he's back tomorrow. So we're going back to live tomorrow at 8:00 Eastern. Arena football's back.
Yes, it is.
OG Arena football.
The OG Arena football.
OG Arena football's back, but I've got some concerns. I've got some concerns.
Lay it on us.
Not so much about. Let's put it this way. The Albany-Orlando rivalry. It's back on. It's back on. I mean, if you and I guess I'll say NFL Network.
If you want 200 points in an arena football game,
there it is.
All I gotta say.
NFL Network made a huge mistake.
They did. What
I'll
they
tell
did?
you what. Yeah, I'll tell you why. So, gotta give a shout out to my buddies, the Levac guys, Albany Radio, 3 p.m. Eastern. They're on iHeart. Can listen live every day. I'm part of their show in terms of associate producer, but they've been on my program a bunch of times, my show a bunch of times. Levac broke the news on Friday at the NFL Network. They were originally supposed to have broadcast the Albany-Orlando game.
But
They decided we're not going to do it this weekend. So big mistake. Big mistake on their part.
Huge
mistake. I guess there were concerns about the broadcasting and the teams and whatnot. It's a whole mess.
Man,
You go back and listen.
Let me have a shot at broadcasting a few arena football games, man. Go on.
But I gotta say this. At least in Albany, things went smooth.
Yeah.
Up until the end. We were treated 16 point. It went behind 16 points before they could even get to football, and they battled back. They never gave up. They won in overtime on the second field goal attempt of the overtime period by the Firebirds. So I'll share more stories tomorrow, and then yesterday. At the National Lacrosse League quarterfinal single elimination game. First round's always quarterfinal single elimination. And whoever wins goes to the next round's best of 3 for the semifinal in the NLL Cup. And Albany FireWolves, they played a solid game. Allowed 3 goals for the 4th time in league history. They allowed a team only 3 goals or less in a game. It only happened 3 times before in a playoff game. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So shout out to the Albany FireWolves, their team, Dougie Jameson, their goaltender, 52 saves. Tremendous effort. And I got another wild story from them tomorrow again. And then I don't want to spoil it. I want to save all the stories for tomorrow's show, but
I'll be tuning in.
Thank you. But I just want to acknowledge the fine folks, the Albany Firebirds and the Albany FireWolves. They've been more than accommodating with their player access, their willingness to let me cover games, and this is the first of, and like all the wildness that happened on Saturday night. It's only week 1. There's 9 more games to go. And I don't know if you followed some of the stories from the Arena Football League with the Philadelphia Soul and that whole mess. But basically, the team had like 4 of the original starters, and the coach was let go. 2 days before the game. They had to bring in a new coach.
Mm-hmm.
and it's a mess. And there's the travel accommodations between Philadelphia and Louisiana. That was the whole. And I got some concerns about the website. It hasn't changed. I looked to see what the scores were from the other games. I don't see any. You have to go to social media to find out from the other teams for the teams that played to find out the scores were.
Right.
So they need to update a lot of things. I have some concerns about that. Hopefully the league and Commissioner Lee Hutton gets everything squared away, straightened out, and we have another season next year. Hopefully there's no teams that drop out mid-year and mid-season with the reschedule. We do the schedule, and it's just, I'm hoping and praying. I love this league. I grew up watching this league, as you know, Snowman. I grew up watching this league. Albany is a legacy city for arena football.
Yes, it is.
And I want to see the league come back and grow. I don't want to merge with another league.
Mm-hmm.
It's original product the way it was intended to be.
And speaking of legacy cities, there's one city I'd love for the Arena League to come back to: Chicago.
Next season. They've already said next season.
I see the wheels turning in your head on that one, Snowman.
I see that. I see the smoke coming out. I see the smoke coming out. Around the gears.
Straight.
Man, you're talking about growing up watching arena football. I played the original arena football game for EA Sports.
There you go.
I remember those games.
Listen, when I was a young lad, about 10 or 11 years old, I had the original NES, Nintendo Entertainment System, 8-bit.
Yes.
I wrote a letter to Konami Games to see if they could get an arena football game.
Oh, stop. You serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude.
I'm serious. I wrote Konami Games a letter saying I would love to see an arena football video game for NES.
Wow.
Never replied, but
obviously not.
Who's going to listen to an 11-year-old kid? Come on.
They were still trying to figure out how to put the cheat code in every video game they produced.
Listen.
Up, down, down.
Listen.
Even God knows it.
This old guy right here. Listen, one of the game shows I grew up watching, of course, was Wheel of Fortune.
Mm-hmm. Same.
This guy right, and I saw them do a Teen Week. This guy right here decided to write Wheel of Fortune, saying, "Hey, when's the next one? I want to be on it." Mm-hmm. Didn't know that auditions had to be held. Didn't know that I had to go to Los Angeles, because didn't realize that all the game shows I wanted to be a part of were in California.
Mm-hmm.
That's when my dad yanked me aside in the midst of my excitement and said, "Look, there's a whole process to this." And he explained the process to me. And that made me go, "Oh, didn't know all that was involved." Mm-hmm. I know now.
Yeah, because when you're a kid, you're like, "Ooh, I want to go on this," and then all of a sudden you're like, "Oh, we have to go out there. I live here."
The next game show I wrote for some tickets. What's my favorite?
Price is Right.
Price is Right. But I will say this, and I told one of these stories. This is the best story that ever happened with my years of watching Wheel of Fortune. When we were living with our in-laws, before we got the house we have now, mm-hmm. I would always somehow, some way, I don't know how, impress my mother-in-law with how I would solve the puzzle. So one day, I had been upstairs all day. I did the show and I passed back out. I came downstairs because I had to get my medicine and I just caught a glimpse of Wheel of Fortune. They were in the bonus round. Mm-hmm. While I'm getting my medicine, while I'm half passed out on the kitchen island or half asleep on the kitchen island, my mother-in-law, Sandy, saw the puzzle on television, saw me. Now, mind you, I'm fogged out at this point because I'm trying to get my insulin. I'm fogged out. My mother-in-law turns to me and says, "Okay, Brian, solve this puzzle." And she had that "I dare you" look. Like, I dare you to top me on this one. Well, son of a gun, if I didn't take a look at that puzzle for 2 seconds and I blurt out, oh yeah, frozen yogurt. And I put my hand back down. The contestant said the solution, won the prize, and I get this look from my mother-in-law of, how the hell did you do that? Gets better. My wife walks in and she sees me. She helps me get my medicine. And she looked at my mother-in-law who had steam coming out of her ears. She was smiling, but still had steam coming out of her ears. And she said, Jody said, what happened? My mother-in-law told her what happened. And my wife just simply said, that's him. He's a nerd. He can't help it.
Yeah.
Tends to happen.
The nerd just has to come out sometimes.
The nerd has to come out.
All right. I got only a short amount of time. So let's talk draft. And did you see who came back to the Cowboys?
Oh, God.
Why am I not surprised that they actually made that move?
They're still not going to have a good running game.
No, they're not. Because doesn't exist. Because
listen, they may have drafted offensive linemen.
Pennywise
is the
draft that hasn't gotten himself an offensive.
Pennywise and King Jarrell had a hand in the draft. That should tell you everything you need to know about the Cowboys draft room.
Yep,
pretty much.
Yep.
King Jarrell and Pennywise had a hand in the draft room. And yes, they got some offensive linemen. Yes, they did. Not going to lie, they made some good choices. The problem, Pennywise is the coach.
Yep.
But enough about Pennywise. Let's talk about the Jets.
Yes. Let's do.
Very good draft. Very good draft, as far as I'm concerned. You drop down a spot to pick up Fashanu, which I had them taking Fatanu from Washington, but he's more of I think he's going to move over to guard.
Yeah,
in Pittsburgh. So I'm okay with Fashanu. He's had kind of a rough year last year with injuries, but overall he's a lighter. He's a shorter, lighter, more versatile version of Mekhi Becton. Who actually signed with the Eagles. Congratulations to him.
Yeah.
And I watched the second round. I was watching from a local watering hole on Friday. I'm thinking to myself, all right, you got all these 4th round picks. Joe Douglas, what are you going to do with them? He didn't do anything. I had a friend of my buddy Dan, who's co-host of Victory Monday, reaches out to me and says, I'm really concerned. He's not going to move up in the second round. I'm like, let's just wait. And then he trades up in the 3rd round to number 1, the first pick in the 3rd round, and picks the yards after catch king of college football last year, Malachi Corley, who when he gets the ball, he runs angry. I love that.
Yeah, he
runs
does.
angry. Then 4th round, 3 picks in the 4th round. You see Joe Douglas trading down. You're like, what is he doing? What is he coming up with? What is Trader Joe doing?
Trader Joe.
He takes Braylon Allen from Wisconsin. I watched his tape. I'm going, oh my goodness. If there's one thing that Joe Douglas loves more than his wife and kids, it's drafting offensive linemen and running backs.
Yes.
It's one thing he right after it's wife, kids, drafting old linemen, running backs.
Linemen and running backs. Yeah.
And I made that comment on social media, and some clown comes at me and says,
"Oh no!"
and says, "Oh yeah, I've got the receipts. Oh, no. So I said that I said that comment, and I get this comment. I'm not going to mention his name because I don't want to give him him all the smoke. Right. But he writes to me and he says, if you wouldn't mind opening it.
Yeah, my mouse is acting stupid. Hang tight a minute. So this idiot writes to you and says, quote,
running back will not make team. Douglas is having a bad day.
Close quote.
To which I reply,
oh no.
And my buddy, well, here's the thing. My buddy had what my buddy Dan had tagged me on social media. The picture of Jalen Allen in the weight room. Dude's a beast. Dude's an absolute beast. So I take that. I take that tweet, and I reply to him. I said, I dare you to say it with the photo. I says, I dare you to say that to Jalen Allen yourself with a laughing emoji. Just to be jovial, just to be jovial, and just keep it fun, keep it light.
Yeah.
And then he comes back at me again. Please open it.
Saying,
quote,
keep my words. Time will tell. Remember P. Ryan? Douglas can't evaluate running backs.
Close quote.
Oh,
Hi.
for God's sake.
A couple things. I didn't reply because A, I was at the Firebirds game, and B, I don't have time for this stupidity. But I would have replied, A, 2020, the 2020 draft was light years ago. Light years. Also, do you remember Breece Hall?
Breece Lightning.
Do you remember Breece Hall? And how Joe Douglas traded up to get Breece Hall before the Giants could steal him? Do you remember? No, because you're a prisoner. You're a prisoner of the moment. Where's that element? You're a prisoner of the moment.
Prisoner of the moment.
Prisoner of the moment.
Wait. I think I can audibly recreate this. Let me get my sound base up here. But yeah, you talk about people being stupid. And here it is. You talk about people being prisoner of the moment.
It was
best
that
I can do. Best I can do.
It was that dude. That's okay. So then you keep going a little further down in the fourth round, and they pick up Jordan Travis from Florida State. Now, granted, he's coming off an ACL tear. Probably won't be ready for camp.
Right.
That's okay. Because at least you can develop. At least you drafted a guy you can develop. Unlike James Morgan, I think he's currently in the UFL, and Zach Wilson, who should be in the UFL.
Thank you.
You draft a quarterback who had a very good year last year before he tore his ACL. And you can develop him. You can sit him behind Tyrod Taylor and Aaron Rodgers for a couple seasons. Let him develop. Let him become a quarterback in the NFL.
Right.
The concern, I guess you have a little bit of concern, is age, because he's one of the he's 20. Well, he's 23, so that's not that old. But considering a lot of these quarterbacks in this draft were part of the COVID year or 2020, a lot of them had extra year of eligibility. Right. There's concern about age, but he's 23. By the time Rodgers retires, I suspect he'll retire in 2 seasons. He says, "Yeah, I'm going to give you 2 more seasons." And when you have Tyrod Taylor moving on, he's on a 1-year deal. Travis will be ready. Travis will be ready to take over in 2026. So hopefully he develops there. Then they take Isaiah Davis from South Dakota State. Again, it's another running back. You got 4 running backs in the running room, in the running back room. And then I think is the story of the draft. In the 5th round, you pick Quantez Stiggers. You remember him from last year from the CFL. I do. He went from fan-controlled football, just tried out on a whim, tried out for fan-controlled football, got picked up by the Toronto Argonauts, won Defensive Rookie of the Year, declared for the draft, played at the Senior Bowl, and now he's a New York Jet.
Now he's a Jet.
Amazing story. Amazing story. And then Mr. Irrelevant, Jalen Key, safety, Alabama. I suspect he's probably going to be a special teams dude, but again, it's added depth to the secondary. So, yeah, we'll probably talk more about this in another edition of Victory Monday because the schedule's being released this week as well.
Oh boy.
I believe it's this week. The schedule's being released. If I'm right.
I'm thinking you're right.
I hope it's released this week.
Yeah, it makes two of us. I wouldn't mind seeing when we're going to get our butts kicked.
I want to see. I want to see when we get to kick Dallas's ass.
Let's see. Schedule release. It says some coming in May, but didn't say what day.
I'm thinking.
Anyway, I think it's going to be this week. I think it's either this week or next week. It's usually right after the draft. But yeah, I feel good about this draft. We'll cover it more on Victory Monday. But I think the Jets had a good draft. It was a little bit maddening with Joe Douglas making all those trades, kept trading down. But I think he did it on purpose because, well, he's got an extra third round pick next year.
Yeah.
You got that from the Lions when they traded up in the 4th round. And you stockpiled picks, and you said that the guys you wanted that were there wound up being there. Yeah. So they were very patient. They were very deliberate. And I think what Joe Douglas is doing is that he's learned from his mistakes. 2020 and 2021, complete washes. 2022, probably one of the greatest draft years in Jets history. And 2023, to be determined, but there's hope there. Will McDonald is going to be, I think he's going to be another one of those guys in the edge who's going to make a difference.
Right.
And then this year, I'm excited for this year. So pretty good. I think pretty solid draft for the Jets.
Cool. And they're going back retro with their uniforms and their logo.
Oh my gosh. 4-year-old Ryan is I'm dancing out of this world.
Dancing,
oh man. That's the Jets uniform I grew up with, man.
That's the Jets logo. That's the Jets logo I remember. Oh boy. Hope you all enjoyed it. Coffee with McCarthy here with us this morning, now turning afternoon. My friend, thank you as always. Victory Monday is when?
I think Victory Monday we're going to react to the draft next week, but the regular show turns tomorrow, 8 p.m. Talk about more of the wild, crazy happenings that went on this weekend in Capital Region sports. Talk about the NFL. Well, Justin and I will recap our respective teams for the NFL draft and Victory Monday. We'll probably do a Saturday morning brunch as well for this Saturday. So,
all right.
Tune in.
All right, man. Thanks for joining us. We love you, and we'll see you next week.